Welcome to the Delvin Cox Experience, the podcast in which each week I'm on a one-man mission to unite our culture through diversity. I'm your host, Delvin Cox, and with me on the podcast this week is a special guest. Let them know who you are, brother.
What's up, everybody? It's Big Haas from Voice from the Underground, the podcast.
One of my favorite podcasts out there. Big Haas host with my boy Jason, who's been on here before. This is Big Haas's first time coming on the experience, so welcome for that, brother.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here.
Definitely. As always, we like to start the podcast off with the 5 for 5. 5 questions, 5 answers to get the ball rolling. Big Haas, you ready?
Okay. I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. Question number 1.
Yes.
What is the best album or song you listened to in the past year?
The best album or song I've listened to in the past year.
Does not have to be new. You have to listen to them in the past year.
Damn it, man. Oh, that Rhapsody album that came out. That's the calendar year. That came out. I'm gonna look it up. That came out in, I believe, the late winter of 2019 or early 2020.
Rhapsody's
album. I'm blanking on the name of the album right now, and I'm sorry about that. But that album was really, really good. Really good.
I remember a lot of people talking about it when it came out. Like a lot of people talking about it.
It was so good, man. I mean, and the thing is, man, is that female rappers, they don't get love nowadays. It was called Eve, like the Eve gene.
Okay, gotcha.
And they don't get love, and it did come out in 2019. They don't get love when they're not exposing themselves or rapping sexually.
Yes.
And she's a rapper in the purest form of rappers, like rappers in general. She's an MC. And woo, that album, if you haven't heard it, man, that album is good. You know, and the thing is like on some albums, you know, you have just a couple of bangers that stand out.
Yes.
So you're like, oh man, you know, this song. And it's like the whole album was so solid from beginning to end that it's hard to just pick out one song and be like, this is the song that you need to listen to, because it's so solid from beginning to end. That album was crazy, man. That album was crazy. Rhapsody definitely.
It's a great answer.
One of the best ones, especially, you know, something new. You know, because I listen to a lot of old stuff over again. Like, you know, the Scarface, The Fix is a 5 mic.
Great album. Definitely.
You know,
Fix. I love Scarface.
I was just talking to one of my clients today. Well, a parent of one of my clients. Ready or Not by the Fugees came on. And she was like, oh, I know this song, because I was playing one of my playlists and she didn't know many of the songs. She's like, I know this song. I like this song. That's Lauryn Hill, right? I'm like, no, this is the Fugees. And I said, if you want to listen to a good album, pick up the score, pull it up on Spotify or Tidal or whatever, and play that. You can play that album from front to back and be thoroughly entertained.
Yes. So no matter if you like hip hop or not.
Right.
That album transcends hip hop.
Fugees, The Score is one of the best albums I ever. Even the skits were legendary.
I agree.
Even the skits were legendary in Fugees, The Score. But you know, the most recent thing I've listened to that really stood out to me was Rhapsody's album Eve.
That's a dope answer. Question number 2.
Okay.
This is going to be an interesting one because I don't think I've ever asked anyone this question.
Oh, shit.
Who do you think is the best pure fighter of our time? When I say pure fighter, it could be MMA or boxing.
Well, that's hard to say because you put a boxer in the MMA ring, they're going to get crushed. You put an MMA fighter, as we saw with Conor McGregor, you're going to get crushed. Like Mayweather was toying with him and like, let me let these people get their money's worth, so I'm not going to knock this dude out early.
Very much so.
You know, and people who watch boxing, they could tell that he was not exploiting openings. He was not hitting them as hard as he could have hit them. there was lots of stuff there. Like if you watch boxing, and I don't even watch boxing. Like my best friend watches boxing way more in depth than me, and even I was like, oh, okay, he passed up a hook there, he passed up a jab there, he passed up a straight right there, he passed up a rib or kidney shot there. You know what I mean? I could see it, so you could tell that he was carrying him. But to answer the question, best pure boxer or fighter, just fighter of all time.
Like, you got a lot of choice. You got Anderson Silva.
I love Spider. I love Spider Silva.
If you want to go boxing, you got Mike Tyson. You got Mayweather.
Mike Tyson was the best. Like if you had said the best brawler of all time,
definitely Tyson.
I would have said Mike Tyson. But the best fighter of all time, number one, I got to go boxing on that because the sweet science is just the sweet science. And I don't know enough about MMA. I haven't watched enough. Like you get your favorites and that's who you watch. You know what I mean? And you see some undercards and stuff. But I like Sugar Ray Leonard. You know why? Because he would put that Mayweather on you where he's bobbing and weaving and not getting hit and counter punching and stuff. But then he'll get in the ring with Marvin Hagler and brawl. He'll get in the ring with Tommy Hearns and brawl. He'll get in the ring with Roberto Duran and brawl. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
He would bob and weave and do the sweet stuff with you and use his quickness and get around the ring and stuff. Or he would stand and throw punches. He would stand and throw punches back and forth with people. So I like Sugar Ray Leonard. Now, I haven't seen enough Sugar Ray Robinson fights. I haven't seen enough Joe Louis fights. So some people might say Jack Johnson, when they fighting 8,000 rounds, but the one who pops to mind for me, because like Floyd, you're not going to take him out his style. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to take him. You're not going to get him to really brawl with you.
Yes, that's true.
But Sugar Ray Leonard would be like, hey, you want to throw hands? You just want to stand and trade? Okay, let's do that. Or, you know what? I'm going to slip that. I'm going to roll. I'm going to shoulder roll and counter punch and win. Or I'm going to brawl with you and win. So I got to go Sugar Ray Leonard.
That's a really good choice. A sound choice, for not many people pick Sugar Ray off the top of their head.
Exactly. That's another thing, too. I know people, there's those people. It's kind of like when you talk about underrated rappers. The most overrated, underrated is Redman. And I love Redman.
Yes.
That's something?
A fact.
But people don't talk about Busta Rhymes as in the pantheon of top 5 rappers. But
he should definitely be there.
But if you look through his catalog, he at least deserves consideration. He deserves consideration off his features.
Oh, yeah, his features are
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Off his features, from featuring on A Tribe Called Quest to featuring on Chris Brown. You know what I'm saying?
Busta Rhymes is one of the most diverse rappers in history. People
will say Busta Rhymes if you're talking about rappers in general. But when you talk about top 5, they won't say Busta Rhymes.
He should be up there.
Until recently, a lot of people, unless you was a hip-hop purist, wouldn't say Black Thought.
Yeah, Black Thought is lethal.
People would go Jay-Z or Tupac, Biggie, so let's just say Jay-Z, Tupac, Biggie, then they would go to Nas, and then they go Rakim in some particular order in top 5. But the more I listen to rap, the less I feel like Rakim is top 5.
You know what? I can relate with that because it's kind of like Rakim was there at the beginning where lyrics started to matter.
Yeah.
But then everybody started to surpass Rakim.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
He
it's kind
passed
of
the
like
torch. He passed the torch.
So it's kind of like now we've had better versions of Rakim.
Yeah. Like people don't talk about Big Daddy Kane enough when you talk about top 10 or 15 rappers. Big Daddy, man, here's what I love about the trash rap that we have now.
Yes,
I'm sorry. Let me qualify that. The trash mainstream rap that we have now. Because if you dig, you can find a Logic. You can find still Eminem gives you some quality, Immortal Technique. people like that. There's some rappers out there, man. You know, Conway the Machine is good. Hey, rest in peace, Fred the Godson. I loved him.
Yeah, he's really good.
There's guys out there, but they're not in the mainstream. So the trash mainstream rap has really made me appreciative of coming up in the glorious 80s, 90s, and early 2000s of rap.
Oh, that is so true.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it is bad now.
Yes. I'll tell you something. My wife was born in 1988. I'm a little older than her. I was born in 1972.
Okay.
But one of the things I did for her birthday a couple years ago is I took a picture. You know how like you can go on Google and they show you all the rap covers, the album covers for the rap albums or whatever albums that were released that year.
Yes.
So I looked up 1988 rap covers. And dude, do you understand how many classic albums came out in 88? Oh my God, EPMD came out. It was it's so much. And I said, baby, and you know this, you know how I'm from Chicago. You know how we do. Yeah. I'm like, see, baby, you know what album cover is missing is your birth certificate on here.
I like that.
I said, babe, but you know, I've always told her since I met her that she was rare. She's a rare personality. She's an old soul. Like I said, she's 16 years younger than me, but she's an old soul. And she's just such a rare personality and beautiful inside and out. And I always told her that she was rare. And I said, look at the year you were born. Look at all these rap albums that came out that year. Like one of her favorite albums is EPMD Strictly Business. That came out in 88.
Great album.
Great album. So, you know, I love the fact that mainstream rap is so bad now. You know, because for every Freaky Tales, we had X-Clan. Yeah. You know, but now it's WAP and that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, it's kind of variations
on the radio. That is, you know what I'm
saying?
They would play the clean version of Freaky Tales or Fuck the Police or something on the radio, but then they'd be like, okay, now here's Queen Latifah, UNITY.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have that now. We don't have that balance anymore in the mainstream rap, and that's why a lot of people they don't even understand. But people like us, grown up in that classic era, those classic decades of rap, the 80s, 90s. And early 2000s up to about 2010 or so, whoa, there was some good stuff there. And you just I think about a lot of times like all the people that kind of made it or didn't make it in rap in the 90s or the late 80s that would be cleaning up house now.
I was talking about that the other day. I was saying how Will Smith in the 90s was getting mocked because he had clean raps.
Yep.
But Will Smith from the 90s rapping today would be as big as Drake.
Yeah.
And nobody would have a problem with it at all.
Yeah. If Getting Jiggy With It came out now, I mean, and that was a hit for him. But if Getting Jiggy With It came out now, he'd be like, he's the king of rap.
Yes, off bat. Because rap has gotten that, not that Will Smith is bad, it's just rapping is so bad that guys that didn't get appreciated in the 90s could come out now and be legends.
Yeah, like I was listening to King T, the Trifling album the other day. And that's going back. That's like 92, 91, 92.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this dude, you know, and it was like a throwaway CD for me when I got tired of listening to other stuff. I was like, you know what, this King T is good. I'm going to play that, but it ain't great, but it was good. But now I listen to him like, dude, I wish I had listened to more of King T because that dude was good. Yeah. He was really good. And it's like, man, it's a lot of guys that flew under the radar because the quality was just, the bar was so high back then. It was so high. You had to come with heat.
And lyrics mattered.
And production-wise. You couldn't come out with no whack beats. You couldn't come out with a great beat and some trash-ass lyrics and really, really blow up off of that, you know?
Definitely. All right. Question number 3. This can be a fun one. What is the dumbest thing you've done as a kid?
The dumbest thing I've done as a kid. Let me think. There's so many to choose from. You know. Oh, all right. I'll talk about this one. All right, and this is one where my mama got to do I told you so, and she's got more, but this is like the one that pops to mind, and it was just dumb. I was probably about 10, and I'm from the South Side of Chicago, so we had radiators, the steel radiators in the house.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? By the walls, of course, and stuff. Hopefully your listeners are old enough to remember radiators, and you know how hard steel they are.
Very hard steel.
Yes, like cast iron fucking steel radiators. And at our house on 44th and Stewart, we had a rocking chair. And I don't know, it was like one of those couch, I mean not couch, but like I got one sitting here, like one of those, not a rocking chair, the typical frame wood one, but the plush joint.
I know what you want, like the one that's kind of like a
recliner.
A recliner, yes.
Yes, but it didn't recline, but it rocked. You could kind of rock on it. You know what I'm saying? And I used to balance myself on the back of the chair. So, up where your shoulder's supposed to be, I'm sitting on top of that. And I would balance myself, right? And my mom, she would catch me and somebody get down, get down, get down. But she never said this until this day. She was like, get down from there before you fall over and bust your head on that radiator. And I was like, Ma, I've been doing this. I'm going to be all right. Not 30 seconds later, did I lose my fucking balance, fall over, and bust the back of my head on the radiator. I got 7 stitches in the back of my head from falling over the back of this damn rocking chair. And you know how that sound when you hit some cold steel real hard, that boom, like that, just boom. And for the longest time, there was still a little bit of blood on the one radiator piece that I hit. It was like it wouldn't come out. I hit that thing hard as shit. So that was like the dumbest thing I've done. The dumbest thing I can think of right now. But I mean, there's so many things. There's I've been blessed because there's really, really good women that I fucked over, and for some reason God saw fit to give me one more chance, man. But yeah, that's the dumbest thing that comes to mind.
I think that's the story of most men's lives. There's so many good women.
There's no reason that I deserve the wife I have now. There's zero reason because of some of the dumb shit I did to some really good women in my past. I'm not talking about my ex-wife because she wasn't one of them, but I've done some really dumb shit. And man, I was like, really? You gonna send me one more? All right, I'm not gonna mess this one up. I promise, Lord.
Definitely. All right. Question number 4. How do you like your steak cooked?
I am a medium well guy. Medium well, like a hint of pink. You know what I'm saying? Like a hint of pink in the middle. I don't want it well. That's just too tough.
Yeah.
I don't want it, I don't want it medium rare because, it's a familial thing for me, man. My mom was one of them people where she would cook stuff well because she didn't want you to get sick because it was undercooked. So I split the difference because I've been conditioned enough where I get a little trepidation if the meat looks a little undercooked. But I've been conditioned also to understand that well-done steak is freaking tough. You know what I'm saying? I don't see how people like a well-done steak. So I go medium well.
See, I started eating my steak when I was younger, well done, because that's the thing that people think because it's supposed to be all the way cooked.
Right. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Then, as I got older, I forgot where I went. I think I went to a restaurant, and I said, well done, and the guy looked at me funny. He was like,
he looked at you like, what? You savage.
Then he was like, maybe you should try it this way. He said medium rare. So all right, let's try it this way. And ever since I tried that way,
changed your life, didn't it?
Definitely did. Can't go back.
Yeah. Like if somebody said to me, you can either have the steak medium rare or well done, I'm taking medium rare. If they like, I refuse to make you a medium well steak, then I'll take medium rare over well done any day.
Yeah, well done is not that good. It's not. It takes all the flavor out of it.
And you know something else too? I forget who I was talking to. It was a real steak guy, because I was like, I would always put stuff on my steak. And he said a good steak only needs a little salt and pepper. If you got a good steak, if you got a really good steak, all you need is a little salt and pepper. And he was right. Because, man, the first time I went to a Brazilian steakhouse, or Morton's, first time I went to Morton's Steakhouse, I was like, whoa, this is a steak. I was eating with my pinky up. I started talking with a British accent. I was like, this steak is jolly good.
Question number 5. Zombie apocalypse is happening. Walking Dead style.
Yeah.
You're going to take 5 things to go out in the world to survive. Pets and family don't count. But you can take anything you want to.
Okay.
What are you taking to go out in the world to survive?
Pets and family don't count.
Yeah, because they automatically assume to come.
Right. I am taking a Ford Excursion diesel.
Okay.
All right.
Why diesel?
Diesel run longer and it's more reliable.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. I am taking a water purifier, a portable water purifier.
Okay, I like that.
I am taking we're on number 3, right?
Yeah, number 3.
I am taking one of those steel matches or whatever the flint matches that always light no matter what.
Yeah,
wet, dry, or whatever. I forget what they call them, but you know what I'm talking about.
I think it's just the flint.
It might be a flint. It's like a match.
Just
though. You strike it and it's like a match.
Yeah,
and it lights every time, no matter what. I'm taking one of those. I am taking a shit ton of canned goods with the pop top, so I don't have to worry about a can opener.
Okay, that works. That's number 4.
4. And I am taking all the guns and ammo that I can hold.
Okay, I like that.
That's, there we go. I'll get my protein from the beans, and I'll shoot something and cook it.
I like that answer. I like that answer. All right, tell everybody a little bit about yourself for those who don't know you. I know you. I've been on multiple podcasts with you.
Okay. My name, my name's Hassan, Big Haas. Some things that people may not know about me. All right. Well, you know what? Things about me. Period. Things about me. Period. Let's see. I am a lifelong, for most of my life, have been a personal trainer, athletic performance coach. Done that. I've done that for a long time, but I got certified in 1999. So 21, almost 22 years or so coming up. But I've been doing that for a long time, working with a lot of sports teams like travel baseball, travel softball. I worked with Lewis University women's basketball team before, gotten guys ready for NFL pro days, working with athletes trying to make the transition from high school to college and get a scholarship if they're on the bubble. Sometimes people are on the fringe of Division I and Division II, and they come to me for help, or they're not being looked at all, and they just want some type of help to get some type of look. So I helped, do that. I've been married. This is my second marriage. Been married for 8 years just this past September. When I first got divorced, I said I would never get married again. I was going to be an international gentleman of leisure. And I met this woman, and she was coming out of a dysfunctional relationship, and I was coming out of a dysfunctional marriage. And we were both on that, we ain't looking for nothing serious no more. We just gonna chill. Let's kick it. for the summer or whatever, and then whatever's whatever. And here we are, 10 years total later, got 2 kids. You know, this is our second home. You know, just the life is funny. Life is funny. Your plan, just roll it up and throw it out, because your plan for life is probably not going to work out that way. What else? I am a burgeoning. I wish I could grab my laptop and turn it left or right, because I'm sitting behind my bar. I'm a burgeoning whiskey enthusiast, whiskey and bourbon and stuff like that enthusiast. I used to not really drink. You know, if I drank to get drunk. I didn't really drink to enjoy it. And now I'm learning to drink to enjoy the experience and the differences between bourbons and whiskeys and ryes and, you know.
So what got you into that?
Smoking cigars.
Ah.
That's the big thing about me, is I am a bona fide cigar enthusiast. And if there's one positive thing that came out of the process of divorce, it was my love of the leaf. Because when I was thinking about filing for divorce, and I don't know if you've ever been married and divorced or whatever, but
I've been married. I'm getting ready to go through divorce now.
Oh my God. Okay. So, first things first. If there's any way to save your marriage, save it. If you can't, man, I would not wish a divorce. You got kids?
Yes, 2 kids.
Oh, fuck a duck. Okay. So
I will say this.
Yeah.
We're on very good terms.
Yeah, that'll change.
Surprisingly so.
How long has it been? How long has this process been going on?
We've been separated for a year now.
Okay. But you haven't filed paperwork and stuff?
No, not yet.
Okay.
We're in the process.
All right. The change is coming. Okay. So if you can save it. But if not, own the process of grief. And you've got kids, so it's going to be, they say divorce is like a loved one dying. And it 100% is, especially if you really love the person. You know, if you weren't really in it and, you know, it's over, then it's like you just cut a friend off, and not really a great friend. But if you really love that person, like I loved my ex-wife, you know, there's lots of, you know, positive stuff about her and our relationship that I loved, but ultimately couldn't do it. But if you really, it's hard. It's so hard going through a divorce, especially when you got kids, because it's literally like visiting the gravesite. Every time you trade kids off or you talk, it's like you're talking to a ghost of somebody you love so much. And now it's not that way, you know, and just own the process. You know, sometimes people like to get divorced or go through divorce and act like it's no big deal. But it is a big deal. It is a big deal, and I would not wish it upon anybody. You know, but you know, getting divorced, I was thinking about it, thinking about filing, thinking about separating and all that stuff. And we lived in a subdivision way out in the west suburbs of Chicago. So out south and west of DeKalb. So if you know where Northern Illinois University is, you know I'm talking way out. And we had a subdivision, and I would walk the subdivision, and I would be smoking White Owl cigars. Now, if you know what cheap cigars are, you know White Owl is like, it's cheap. Okay, yeah. 99-cent peach White Owls. And I would just be walking and smoking and thinking, you know, have I done enough? Is there anything else I can do? Walking, thinking, praying, meditating about if I'm doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? And my love of cigars kind of started there. But after the divorce was final and everything, I kind of went away from it because it was like so much lifted off of me. It was like a relaxation tool. But I got back into it because somebody gave me a Acid Blondie, which is a little cigarillo. And I was like, you know what? I haven't had a cigar in a long time, you know? And I smoked that acid, and I haven't looked back since. And now I hardly ever smoke infused cigars now, but I smoke mostly full strength, full flavor cigars, and I will smoke maybe 2 or 3 cigars a day, especially now through COVID. I'll smoke 2 or 3 a day. It used to be 1 or 2 a day, or 1 or 2 every other day, but now it's like 2 or 3 a day. And I love cigars. And people were saying, well, what whiskey do you pair it with? I'm like, man, I just smoked a cigar. I like right now I've got like some red Kool-Aid right here. And I'm like, I'll smoke it and drink a pop. I'll smoke it and drink water. I'll smoke it. They're like, no, you gotta pair it with a good whiskey. So I started buying, like, I think I bought some Gentleman Jack or something, and I'm smoking it with it, and I could tell the difference. And now I've become so enamored with the experience of cigars. I know that there's like 10 different ways to smoke the same cigar. Like if I smoke it naked, which means I just smoke it, I don't drink anything, I don't eat anything, that's one experience. But if I smoke it and I drink pop, anything sweet in that cigar is going to come out because of the sweetness of the pop or Kool-Aid or whatever. But if I smoke that same cigar with some Basil Hayden's whiskey, then the spices come out more, and the earth comes out more, and the leather and the wood and all of those things come out more. But if I smoke it and I eat cake, it's a different experience. If I smoke it and I eat a steak, it's a different experience. So I really love the intricacies and nuances of the cigar itself, and getting into learning how the blends, how the different blends and the different leaves that you can have, and how they affect the cigar, and how aging affects the cigar. Like, you smoke a cigar that you just got from the cigar store, but you bought 2, and then you keep the second one for a month or 2 or 3 months, and then you smoke that one. It's going to be a whole different experience. You can smoke it with the same thing, like you smoke it and you drank whiskey, you drank this one whiskey. 6 months later, you smoke the same cigar, but it's been in the humidor for 6 months, and you smoke it with the same whiskey. It's going to be a different experience because that cigar has matured over those 6 months. It's like wine. So there's so much to learn about it. And then the cigar culture is such a welcoming, embracing culture. The people that you meet through cigars. Like, I've sat down in a cigar lounge, and here I am, Big Haas, the trainer, to lots of high school kids and younger, and college kids. I'm sitting down talking to a CEO because of cigars. Hey, what are you smoking? Oh, I'm smoking this. What are you smoking? Oh, I'm smoking this. And then you start talking about the different cigars and the different pairings. Hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm a personal trainer and athletic performance coach. Oh, man, my daughter, she plays volleyball, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm a CEO of, XYZ company. So we leave together. I go out and get in my Honda Pilot. This dude goes and gets into a freaking Murcielago. But we just had a conversation like 2 people who are from the same street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one of the great things about cigars, is that not only can you get into the leaf and all of the intricacies and nuances of the leaf, but the culture of cigars is such that it's like motorcycle culture. If you ride on 2 wheels, you ride on 2 wheels. It's like there's these fraternities. It's like, there's the cigar world. Everything melts away. Everything melts away, and it's just you and the cigar and the people around, and whatever background you're from, it's all about cigars for that time, and it's really cool. I really enjoy it a lot.
Definitely. I got some boys up there, my friends up there, who have a cigar club. They do a podcast called the What Up Though Podcast. And
okay, what's the name of the cigar club?
I don't even remember.
Uh-oh.
See, I don't smoke cigars. I don't know. But
first of all, what's wrong with you?
I am weird in terms of all this stuff. I don't smoke cigars. I don't drink.
Mm-hmm.
None of that stuff. I got to find out from them. I'm going to find out from them. I'm going to message it to you.
It's the What Up Though Podcast, but
Yeah,
I'm
definitely
in so many
Detroit.
cigar groups on social media. I'm probably in the group that they're in if they got a Facebook group.
I think they do. If I'm correct, they do have a
You got to
Facebook.
definitely let me know what it is. What's the name of it? What's the name of their Facebook group is?
I'll let you know.
Okay, cool.
I'll message them and find out from them. But let me ask you this then. Let's get into it.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get started with the podcast that you do, Voices of the Underground? Because
Voice from the Underground, the podcast.
I love it.
That
It's fascinating. It's wild.
Yes, we're very tangentially inclined. You know, in this day and age, what really sparked it off, besides the injustices going on and stuff like that back in 2015, 2016, it was the election of the Donald Trump campaign. And
Gotta do it.
you know, my co-host Dutch at the time was like way more conservative than he is now. He's kind of seen the light as the years have progressed.
Yes.
But we would have debates. He and I would have these back and forths on Facebook, and I'm talking like a Facebook, there's a post, and there's like 350, 400 comments in the post, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And he texted me one day, or he messaged me on Facebook, and he said, "You know what? We should make a podcast to talk about all of this stuff." Because we would just talk. I'm like, man, if this dude gets elected, it's just going to be one big ass dumpster fire after another, blah, blah, blah. How can you know? And he would be kind of the other way, thinking that it's going to be all right. But he's like, we should have a podcast. And I was like, I'm down, just to discuss it and not be wasting all this time on Facebook going back and forth. And he said, I got a buddy named TJ. And it turned out I knew TJ from Motorcycle Culture too, because that's how I know Dutch, from riding motorcycles, because we were in the same motorcycle club together.
Oh, that's cool.
So he's like, my boy TJ is a guy who has been in media. He's done voiceover work and stuff like that. So we could kind of have him as our moderator, and, kind of in the middle between you and I, since we're kind of opposite in our political ideologies. I was like, okay, that's cool. So we just thought it would be a podcast to just kind of talk shit and everything. And here we are, like, I think almost 200 episodes later, 4 years later, still doing it. And, we talk more, we talk about politics, pop culture, sports, music, just social issues, race, dumb shit people have done, whatever. We talk about everything, and we try to keep it organic and, fun and light. Like just Sunday, we had a congressional candidate that's going to be running in 2022 in California for a congressional seat, an independent guy. And that was just a great conversation to talk about the intricacies of politics. He had some inside, kind of knowledge that we weren't really privy, that we didn't, we just don't know, because we're not politicians.
Yeah.
But then also this dude had broken 27 bones because he used to ride motocross. So we talk about that, and he geeks out on don't be a menace to society while drinking your juice in the hood and coming to America and stuff. He's this freaking white bread independent guy, but he's got so many layers to him, and that's kind of one of the things that we've come to love about our podcast is that we have these layers to the people we talk to and to each other, because to the naked eye, people would probably say, "Oh, Hassan's a flaming liberal progressive," but through the podcast, people have got to know that, hey, sometimes people got to die. So I believe in the death penalty. I own guns. I go shoot guns. I train. So I'm a 2A guy. I'm a fiscal conservative. I just disagree with most conservatives on where you should be cutting from. I'm a top-down guy. You cut from the top down. You don't cut from the bottom up, because I do believe in having a social safety net for people who are struggling. Because guess what? I come from a family of people, we were on food stamps. You know, we had to choose between paying the light bill or the gas bill. You know, there was many times I took one of them, what we call a hot plate bath, where you put a pan of hot water on an electric plate, heat it up, pour that shit in the sink, and you take a whole bath in the sink, you know, because the gas was off. But I also come from the heat being off, and you turn on the stove to heat the house. So, and I know, you know, because so many people who haven't been through those things, they think, and this has always boggled my mind, is that they think that a lot of people on welfare, especially black people, are cool with being on welfare. They're cool with having food stamps or SNAP or EBT or whatever. They think that black people are cool with and satisfied and content with
mediocrity,
living off the system and being mediocre and not aspiring to more. And me coming from the absolute depths of that, you know, where we didn't have our own place most of my youth until I was about 16 years old. You know what I mean? We lived with family member to family member to family member, sleeping on the floor. You know how hard it is to sleep on a fitted sheet on the floor?
Oh yeah. I've done it before.
You know what I'm saying? Sleeping on lawn furniture, hey, I thought I was the smartest man alive when I realized, you know something, because we sleeping in the living room anyway, if I take the couch cushions off and put the fitted sheet around the couch cushions, I have a little mattress. You should have seen my sister's face when I did that shit. They was mad. To them, I was sleeping on a bed. But I was sleeping on couch cushions, fitted sheet wrapped around couch cushions on the floor. But knowing that where we come from and knowing all of the people around me that were in the same position, and all we talked about was how to get out of this situation. So it burns me up when I hear people say, well, they just consent to live off the system. Nothing could be further from the truth, and it really burns me up. It really it burns. You know what grinds my gears? When especially white folks who've never spent 1 minute of meaningful time in poverty-stricken areas assume that those people are cool living in poverty. Yep. That is the furthest thing from the truth. Really burns me up.
Yeah, it drives me insane. And it always also drives me insane because those same white people will try to tell you how to fix your community.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know what you guys need to do. First of all, you know, and it's always the guy, well, I worked down there. That's not the same, dude, because you knew you could break out. You knew you was going home. You knew you was going back to Lyle. Yeah. You know, I worked down there, so I know. No, you don't, because you didn't lay your head down there. You know what I mean? You didn't lay your head down there. You was gone. So don't tell me that.
I agree. I like the podcast so much because you talk about stuff like this on the podcast.
Yes.
And what I like about the show is the fact that you have guests on that may have opposite views from you, and you challenge them.
Yeah. We challenge, and we're challenged.
Yes.
We're challenged as well. And I think that is so important not to have an echo chamber, because I've learned things from people who have opposite views of me or different views of me. It may not be opposite, but different, you know, but I've also helped change some minds too. But I think that especially nowadays, there's such a tendency or trend toward people not wanting to venture outside their bubble. Like, I was having a debate with someone the other day, and he brought up this statistic. Well, he didn't give me a statistic because he never backed it up with the actual link to any substantive evidence. But he's like, the vast majority of crime is committed by 6% of the population, parentheses, black males. And I said, you know what? Let me just give you that. Let's just say the numbers are true. I said, hey, if Tom and John are in an English class and they both cheat on English tests at the same rate, but the instructor only watches Tom. She doesn't watch John, right? Who's she going to catch more, right? And then I said to him, now, and on the occasion that she catches John cheating, she gives John another test or just gives him the F instead of expelling him from the class or recommending him for expulsion from the school. You know, she gives him another test. She says, all right, well, you know what? You got to take a different test now. Instead of, you're going to take this 0 and I'm talking to the principal about what you did. You know, I said, now, how do the numbers look? What does it look like? It looks like Tom cheats a whole lot more than John, even though they cheat at the same rate. I said, and also, it looks like Tom gets punished a lot worse than John, doesn't he? I said, so you got to factor that in. And then what I did was I gave him all these links to resources. And you know what he said? I'm not going to read these. I gave him links to Stanford studies, MIT studies, the Pew Research Center studies, you know, showing how minorities are over-policed. So therefore, the crime numbers are skewed, you know. Also, whereas in the occasion when they even stop or whatever, whites are undercharged, whereas blacks are overcharged. So therefore, the punishment rates are skewed as well. So, you know, if I'm going 95 miles an hour over the limit and John is going 95 miles over the limit, but I get arrested for reckless driving, you know, and endangerment, but John gets a ticket because the officer said, I'm going to knock this down to 80 in a 55 for you, dude. You got to take this ticket, though. So what does it look like now? You know what I mean?
Big difference.
There's a big difference in punishment there. And I said, this is systemically proven. And he refused to even look at the information. He refused to look at it. He was like, he said to me, is it a possibility that the information you have is wrong and you're being misinformed? He said, do you allow for that? And I said, you're the one saying that you won't even look at the information. So you're the one that's projecting right here saying that you won't even allow for the possibility that your information is wrong. You said you won't even look at my information. So who's the one that's being a sheep here?
I think that's
and then he
a
stopped
big
commenting.
problem.
He stopped
That's
commenting.
a big problem with America today in terms of people living their own echo chambers.
Yes,
and
their own balloon.
And don't listen to facts. Like, there are certain facts that jump out to us and people choose to ignore those facts.
Yes, we call it being willfully ignorant.
Yes. And
you know, because this is what he said to me. He said, because I said, here are some resources where you can educate yourself on this subject. And he said, you're telling someone that's educated to educate themselves. Isn't that ironic? And I said, just because you're educated doesn't mean you're educated in every subject.
Yeah.
You know, just like I know as much as there is to know about football as there is, but I don't know basketball like that. I would have to educate myself. If I was going to be a basketball analyst, I'd have to educate myself. And I said to him, I said, you know, have you studied the intergenerational effects of systemic racism for 20 years like me? All the while living for my whole life underneath within those intergenerational effects. He didn't comment anymore. But that's the thing. You know, people think that because they have a degree in, you know, science,
anything,
that they could talk, that they could talk and talk down to me about something that I've dedicated my life to because I want to leave this world better for my children. I don't even expect systemic change to happen in my lifetime. But I want to do, if I can push that boulder an inch up the hill, that's what I want to do because I want an inch better life for my kids, you know? And this guy he doesn't even understand that. He just, and refuses to educate himself on it. Just flat refuses. And that's a big problem, is that people refuse to educate themselves on these issues, but they want to talk about them so much. They just want to talk about them from their viewpoint, and not even a viewpoint based in statistical facts. You know what I mean? It's maddening. It's maddening to me.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
This on the same topic.
Yeah.
Do you think in our lifetime, because we're close to the same age,
Yeah.
we will see some form of police reform?
Systemic police reform on a
Yes.
national level?
On a national level. Let's just say 40, 50 years left.
All right, 50 years. All right, so if I live to be 98.
Yes.
And it's fucked up that I got to think about it. That's
yeah.
I'm like, ugh! The optimist in me wants to say yes, but the realist in me wants to say, nah, I don't think so. I don't think so, because the police system is under the law enforcement system, period. And you gotta reform stuff above that to get down to the police department. You know, because if you think about it, the police are the street dealers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The police are just the street soldiers for other stuff. So until other things, it has to cascade down. You know what I mean? Because you have to reform the judicial system. You have to reform the legal system. You have to reform so many things before you get down to the police. Because as long as they're disenfranchising and still systemically creating ghettos and creating these deserts and creating these vastly impoverished areas, then you're going to have crime. So if you've got crime, you got to have cops. You know what I'm saying? So there's never going to be a point, and right now there's this adversarial relationship. There's no more officer friendly, really.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? True. Because there's this one cop, this white cop, I think he's in Arkansas or Georgia, something, that does a lot of stuff in the community and everything. And I like that. Thank you. Thank you for being such an involved person and not being one of the bad cops. But you know what a really, really good cop would do? A really, really good cop would be pointing out those fuckers in his department that are bad, because he knows them. Yeah. He would be like, you know what? I love this community so much. I know that Officer Taggart is an asshole. I know that he abuses authority. I know that he violates people's rights. He shouldn't be a cop anymore. That's what I want to see. I want to see those types of cops. Going in the community is great, but if you're still allowing those people to get in cruisers and patrol areas with people that they hate in those communities, that they're going to abuse, brutalize, and murder, then what are you really doing by being in the community and having sunflower seeds with the kids? Because that kid could still get killed by Officer Taggart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You need to get Officer Taggart off the street. That's the really good service. That's showing me how good you are. You know, but that's a huge risk for a cop, because we've seen what happens to those cops that do step up and do that. They get fired, they get demoted, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So
they get ostracized.
You know. So I mean, I don't think so. I don't think so, because there's so much to reform, you know, on the way to police. You know, and as long as we're creating a cycle of hopelessness, where people don't feel like they have anything to lose, how are you going to change it?
Yeah. All right. Final question, but this is going to be a long or short one depending on your answer.
Okay.
This is what I got in my head.
Go.
Do you think Trump has forever changed our political system and how this country looks at it?
I don't know if it's forever, but it's going to be a long time. Because even if Biden wins, he's going to have to fight and fight. It's going to be almost as bad as when Obama won the fight.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we're going to have the Tea Party 2.0, but now out, and I fully expect this. I expect this, and that's another reason why I've got my gun. I got my concealed carry, and I train to be in these situations because I fully expect there to be some sort of violence if Trump loses. I 100% expect it. And I halfway, 70% believe that it will be Trump calling for it in some sort of, in his dog whistle fashion. You know, they're stealing the election from me. It's up to you, the people, to show them that I need to be here, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Some sort of bullshit like that, which is basically a latent, tacit call to arms. It's going to be a fight. And I think that the bar is so low now, and we've been drugged down so far into the mud as a nation. I mean, internationally, I've talked to people in London and Sweden and stuff, and they're appalled, they're aghast at the situation here in America. So I think that there's a lot of work to be done. It's almost like this: if you like Ferris Bueller, his friend's father's car, right?
Yeah.
That got trashed. You could probably fix it, but it's going to take a long time to fix it, and you got to find a lot of parts and everything, and it's going to take a specialist. You know, I just think that our system and our government and then also because you have to think about this: getting Trump out, him being gone doesn't end anything, because think about how many federal judges they fast pass through. You think about that. Those are lifetime appointments. And there's a federal judge who has a lifetime appointment who never tried a case in court. Think about that.
That's crazy.
There is a federal judge that got appointed during the Trump administration, and McConnell, that bitch McConnell, pushed through his confirmation. He has never argued a case in a courtroom. And he's now a federal judge for life. He's like 30 years old. So this dude will matriculate up the system and probably he'll be on the state Supreme Court soon, probably in the next 5 to 10 years. He'll only be 40, 45 years old, right? Then you go further, right? So what happens? You end up maybe getting on a Supreme Court or a circuit court or something, right? So you've got hundreds of judges that are young, arch conservative, that have been pushed through during these last 4 years. And that's the real thing. All that Trump shit is all smoke and mirrors, so that behind the scenes, Mitch and his guys can do stuff like that. Put dudes on the bench like that. So now, yes, Trump has forever changed in a way, or for a very, very long time, because of the ripple effect of what was done while he was out there being the maniac, taking all the attention, and the right hand wasn't seeing what the left hand was doing. You see what I mean? So there's been all these judges, all these little laws and things passed and stuff like that. You know, all these repeals and stuff. Like, some of this stuff can get put back by executive order by Biden, but there's some of this stuff that we're not going to be able to get that stuff back. And so the landscape has changed, and it's going to take a while, because, you know, even Biden isn't I don't think he isn't as for systemic change as we actually need, probably. No. You know, because before Trump, you know, with his current politics, Biden would be close to Reagan.
Yeah.
A lot of people would be close to a lot of people that run as Democrats now would be close to Reagan in their policies. You know, we hopefully what'll happen is we can get someone like AOC or somebody up in there. But I doubt that happens because she's looked at as so radical, even though she's not really that radical. The stuff that she's talking about has been done before, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a conversation for us to have another day.
All right.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other conversation for another day. But yeah, the short of it is I believe that it may not be forever, but it's going to be a long time until we get back to where we were, and that we still needed to improve from that. So,
man, this has been a great conversation, brother.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for coming on, brother. Let them know where to find you at for those who don't know.
All right, so you can find me if you're looking for fitness motivation and stuff like that. You can find me on IG at LF, the number 2, fitness, FITNESS. There may be, wait, you know what? That's Twitter. You can find me there on Twitter, but on Instagram it's LF2_fitness. Okay, for all your fitness stuff, you'll see me videos of me working out, motivational stuff, and my clients. For just, you want to see cigars and whiskeys and funny stuff, then you can hit me on IG at Big Haas 18, BIG_HASS, the number 18. And you'll find me there. You can find the podcast. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
You can find us at VFU Podcast. That's on IG and Twitter, and www.vfupodcast.yolasite.com. Okay, that's where you can find us, and you can also look us up and see and get our podcast on YouTube, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Podbean, anywhere you can find podcasts. You look up VFU Podcast, and you should be able to find us.
Yeah, one of the best podcasts out there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I listen to it pretty much every week.
All right, I like that, man.
Always great.
You got to jump on. We know we're streaming live on YouTube now, so you get the audio and the video. You got to jump on and get in the comments, man.
I'm down to do that. Yeah, that sounds cool.
Okay, so I'll make sure to tag you the next time we podcast, so you'll know we're on and you'll have a link.
All right, cool. Definitely.
All right, man.
All right. As always, Delvin Cox Experience, we are out. Peace.
Peace.